All right, everybody, welcome to this Monday night edition of Awakening Soul Force Live. I'm glad to be back in my cozy little Awakening Soul Force studio after a lovely week of vacation out at Lake Havasu, Arizona, with my mom and dad. So that was really cool. It was really nice to change scenery for about a week. Had a great time out there. Had some interesting, things happen with our travels at times. The boat and the Sea-Doo, not quite getting on the water when we wanted to, and all that kind of stuff. Had flat tires, all kinds of interesting little things that came up. But nonetheless, it was a really nice trip. It was really nice to spend so much time with my mom and dad. And for those of you who joined us last week for my dad and I in our dream analysis special, that was super fun too. So thanks for that. We had a blast, and I know we would love to do it again. It was so much fun. So here we are now, back in a new week of Awakening Soul Force Live. Tonight we're going to do a wisdom-seeking meditation at our new time here at 7 p.m. I put the poll up last week, and really it was kind of a resounding, the answer was a resounding 7 o'clock is the right time. So we've bumped the time up a little bit so that folks on the East Coast can join us more often, more regularly, and hopefully this works for allowing more folks to join us for the live experience. Hey, Tab. I'll say hi to Tab there. Say hi to Rebecca. Hello. It's nice to be back. Marcy Cat. Tab says more dreams. Oksana is here. Hello. Welcome. Yeah. Yeah, the dreams were really cool. Hey, Elizabeth. How's it going? Yeah, the dream thing was really cool. And Tab's been sharing some fun articles and stuff with me. It sounds like people in their dream life has really ramped up ever since COVID hit, which I think is really fascinating. And I'm sure there's all kinds of speculation about what that could be and why. Sure, stress is high right now, but also, people are more time, or people have more time. People are at home more often, and I would imagine kind of getting out of the daily hustle and bustle, that constant buzzing of stress. I'd imagine people are probably getting some sleep that they maybe not have had in the past, and that's allowing them to open up to these altered states of consciousness that occur, that can come about when we're sleeping. So I would be really interesting to hear more on what's going on there, since there's been like this total ramp up in dream activity since COVID hit. So Tab's been sending me information on that, and that's been pretty cool. So thanks for sharing that, Tab. Hi, Tanya and Sean. Welcome to you both. The 2-for-1 deal with that profile. Hi, Pooja. Welcome. I'm glad you appreciate the time change. You still might fall asleep. Just saying. Anytime we're doing meditations, there's a good chance that you might fall asleep. So let me talk a little bit about tonight, what we're going to do. I got to my meditation and I asked, what could we do tonight for our meditation? Since there's a whole bunch of different kinds that we've explored. We did some mindfulness last week. We've done healing meditations. We've done higher self check-ins. So tonight what came through, I asked, what would be good for the group? And I got wisdom. So what I wanted to do tonight was share a wisdom-seeking meditation with everybody. And really what my job is tonight is to guide you to a certain point in the meditation and then kind of cut you loose and let you roam the realms of your whatever altered state of consciousness where you allow yourself to kind of enter into. So we're going to do a wisdom-seeking meditation tonight where I'm going to guide you up a spiral staircase. And we're going to go up this spiral staircase with the intention of meeting with whatever intention you set. So I want you to pick an intention, whether that's to meet with your higher self, to meet with a master guide, to meet with your guardian spirit, to meet with your spirit guides, to meet with God, whatever intention you set. So I want you to set that intention for yourself so that becomes, it personalizes your journey for you. I'm not going to dictate that. My job is to help facilitate this journey, walk you into a relaxed and calm state of consciousness where you open up to this meeting with your higher self, your guide, God, whatever intention you set. So I'm going to walk you up a spiral staircase. We're going to get to the top of this staircase. We're going to offload any negative energy, any stuff that we don't want to carry with us that makes us feel heavy. We don't want to bring it with us into this ethereal realm. We're going to leave it behind. There's going to be a door. I'm going to lead you to this door. I'm going to ask you to open the door. and then enter into the door and close it behind you. And once you do that, you're going to be off on your own journey. And this is going to be really whatever it looks and feels like for you based on the intention you set at the beginning of the journey. So I'm not gonna guide you. Once I ask you to go into the door and close the door behind you, I'll ask you to turn around, and then you're gonna go on your journey, and you're gonna meet with whatever guide or your higher self, whatever meeting you've arranged in your meditation. I want you to then embark on that journey, meet with your guide, your higher self, etc. And I want you to have a dialogue and seek wisdom, whatever questions on your mind. And the important thing to remember when you do this, when we go on a journey like this, this happened to me when I did my shamanic journeying workshop several years ago. What you have to remember is that when we get into this space and we're opened up to now these higher dimensions of consciousness, yes, guides and our parts of our higher self or aspects of our consciousness are going to appear for us. And it's totally normal and totally okay to engage with the discourse and a dialogue. And that means just asking questions, listening, asking if you come into contact with your spirit guide or with your higher self or with an energy, ask, what do you like to be called? Who are you to me? Ask those kinds of questions. Not everybody has a direct experience like that the first time, since we haven't done this before in this group this way. Some people may, some people may not. There's no good or bad outcome here. The idea is to get into a nice relaxed state, get into that place where we lead you through the door. I'm going to let you have whatever experience you're going to have there. And I want you to know that you're going to have whatever experience you're meant to have tonight, you're going to have it. So if that means that you get to that space and you doze off to sleep, that's what your body needed tonight. That's what you needed. If you get there and you have this crazy, insane, magical, there's zebras and unicorns and all kinds of flying magical creatures, and that's like what happens in that space. Awesome. Cool. That's exactly what you needed to experience tonight. Or it might be more subtle. You might just kind of see colors. You might feel super relaxed. It totally depends on the person, whoever's doing it, and how deep you allow yourself to go and what you're opened up to. The other thing I will say, since we're setting the intention to potentially meet with our higher self or spirit guides, just know that if any moment you feel uncomfortable or you don't want to engage anymore with this higher dimension of consciousness, or if there's an energy that pops up that doesn't feel quite right, just know that you can excuse this. You don't have to interact. You don't have to engage. And that's kind of that's something that I just want you to know ahead of time. It's just like with people, if we don't want to engage, we don't have to, and we'll move on to something else. So just know that going into this. So does anybody have any questions about the journey tonight? I would be curious. So I'm just going to leave it since there's a little bit of a delay. So if anybody has any questions, let me know. We're going to get into that space. I'm going to let you have your experience, and then I'm going to call you back. And I'm going to guide you back to the doorway. We're going to come back down the staircase. And then afterwards, we'll talk about anything that comes up. So if anybody has any experiences, we'll share and talk and see what goes on. And we'll just kind of go from there. So we'll see if anybody has any questions. I think I already lost Tab. He's snoozing. Awesome. Thanks, Tab. If there are no questions, what I will say now, wherever you are now, go ahead and get comfortable and just sort of prepare yourself for this journey. And wherever you are now, I want you to go ahead and close your eyes. And you're going to take 3 big clearing breaths to kind of settle you in to the here and now. So go ahead and close your eyes. Take a big deep breath in, filling yourself up with light. Exhale, release. Two more big deep breaths. Exhale, release. One more time, big deep breath in, filling yourself with light from head to toe. Exhale, release. All right, so make sure you're in a comfortable position wherever you are now. And before we get started, I want you to go ahead and pick your intention now. Set your intention. The intention to, tonight in this meditation, meet with your higher self, to meet God, to meet your spirit guide, a helping, healing spirit, your guardian spirit, whatever fits for you. Go ahead and set that intention now. And once you've set your intention, go ahead and slowly turn your awareness to your breathing. And become conscious of your breath. Take a big deep breath in through your nose, feeling your lungs expand. Exhale, release. Feeling your body exhale. Really become focused on the quality of your breath. Follow the rise and fall of your chest. As you become more and more relaxed, more and more at peace with every breath, turning that awareness inward. As you become more and more connected to your breath, go ahead and draw your awareness to the base of your spine. And on your next inhale, take a big deep breath in and imagine a big ball of white light springs from the base of your spine and begins to roll up your lower back, up your spine, all the way up between your shoulder blades, up the back of your neck, up to the top of your head. And once you feel this little ball of white light dancing atop the crown of your head, I want you to imagine this light then, with every breath, begins to expand and encircle you. And with every breath in, this ball of light expands outward. With every exhale, you can feel the energy vibrating more quickly. And do this until you feel yourself completely encircled by a big, vibrant ball of gold and white light. As we create a beautiful ball, a shield of divine light, love, and protection all around us. On your next exhale, I want you to trace your awareness from the crown of your head, down the back of your head, down your neck, down between your shoulder blades, down your spine, all the way to the very tip of your tailbone. On your next breath, inhale, connect to the base of your spine. Exhale and release your grounding cord, a long white extension of your spinal cord, extending from the tip of your tailbone down into the earth. Feeling this energetic cord digging deep into the crust of the earth all the way down until you feel yourself anchored by the gravitational pull of the earth in the here and now. Once you've made this connection to the earth, on your next inhale, breathe in and imagine a big wave of orange light coming up through the soles of your feet. Up your ankles, your calves, up your knees, up your legs, all the way up your hips, up your torso, up through your shoulders, arms, up your neck, and then up and around, spilling out and around you, in another protective bubble of orange light. Turn your awareness to the sky above and imagine a bright and beautiful sun. Take a big deep breath in, set the intention to welcome in the light of heaven. Exhale, release, and feel a cascade of white light come through the crown of your head, down your neck, down your shoulders and arms, down your torso, through your hips, all the way down your legs, past your knees, down your calves, through the soles of your feet. As you feel connected to this heavenly vibration. Now we're going to set the intention to go on a journey to meet with our higher self, to meet with God, to meet with our spirit guide. And once you've set that intention, you're going to notice a spiral staircase appears just out in front of you. And if you can't see it, you can feel it. Go ahead and begin to move towards that spiral staircase. And as you move towards it, you start to feel the vibration of the orange light, or the red light glowing from the steps. Go ahead and begin to ascend up this spiral staircase, one step at a time. These steps glowing a vibrant red. This light gives us a rush of feeling alive, feeling present, as we take one step at a time, going up, ascending up this staircase. As we begin to continue up, that spiral staircase begins to bend, and those red steps shift into a beautiful orange light. And as we begin to step up these stairs, we then feel a rush of lightness and emotion. We bristle with joy as we continue to ascend up this staircase one step at a time. Continuing to climb, the orange light begins to shift to a yellow, as bright as 1,000 suns, and this yellow light welcomes in a rush of energy and vibrance, vitality, feeling lighter and lighter as you continue to ascend up this staircase. And as you turn the corner, this yellow light shifts into a beautiful green, like the green of a forest. And you feel yourself overwhelmed with a sense of comfort, love, and compassion, making you feel more buoyant as you continue to ascend up this staircase, one step at a time. And as you move through this green light, it begins to shift into a very cool turquoise blue. And with this, you feel a little bit lighter, a little bit more relaxed, more at peace as you begin to ascend. Starting to feel more clear. Your senses feel sharp. As you begin to ascend up this staircase, as you turn the corner, this blue shifts into an indigo colored light. And we suddenly feel expansive. We feel as if the space around us extends on into infinity as we continue to ascend up this staircase, and our vision becomes clear, our intuition becomes awakened. Continuing to ascend up this staircase, we turn the corner and the indigo shifts into a bright violet light. And as we ascend into this light feels as if we are suddenly becoming intimately connected to all of the universe, as if we walk among the stars. Feeling more relaxed, feeling lighter, more expansive as we drift into the violet light. And as we turn the corner, we're going to notice a platform, and in front of us sits a beautiful door, a golden white door. And sitting in front of the door is this big treasure chest. I want you to go ahead and open the chest. And I want you to offload anything that stresses you out, anything that's weighing on you. Go ahead and throw it in that chest and release it from yourself at this moment in time. And as we drop it into the chest, just watch it be absorbed by the universe to be transformed and transmuted by the light of loving awareness. once you feel light and relaxed, go ahead and close the chest and watch it disappear. As you stand in front of this beautiful golden white door, once again, set the intention that on the other side of this door, you're going to have a meeting with your higher self, with your spirit guide, your master guide, God, or your helping healing spirit, for the purpose of seeking information and wisdom for your own healing. And once you've set that intention, I want you to reach out, go ahead and turn the knob, step into the golden white door, and close the door behind you as you enter a beautiful, serene landscape. And now I want you to go ahead and explore this realm and have the meeting that you set out to meet, seeking guidance and wisdom and healing. And I'll call you back in a moment. Wherever you are now, go ahead and give thanks for making this connection. Gather any last moment of information before you say goodbye. And ask your guide or your higher self to walk you back to the golden white door that we entered in. Once you get to the golden white door, go ahead and say your goodbyes. Give thanks for this opportunity to connect, for any information that came through. go ahead and open up the golden white door. And as you step through it, you feel a wash of violet light run through the crown of your head all the way down through your body, rinsing you off. Close the door behind you. And slowly begin your descent down the spiral staircase, starting with the violet steps. As we carry any helping, healing information that came through tonight with us. As we begin our descent down the spiral staircase, that violet light shifts into a beautiful indigo colored. As we give thanks for this awakening of our intuition, awakening of our inner vision, stepping down, descending as that indigo colored then shifts into a turquoise blue. As we continue to descend down that staircase, we feel more clear, more attentive, more ability to communicate our truth. As that spiral staircase turns, that turquoise blue shifts into a green, and we feel that rush of expansive love and compassion really take root in our heart space as we continue to descend down the stairs, integrating sensation of love and compassion. As these green stairs shift into yellow, we feel ourselves empowered and invigorated by its loving experience. As that yellow light slowly begins to shift to orange, and we feel ourselves integrating our ability to communicate and express whatever experiences we had tonight. Continuing to descend down the staircase, the orange light shifts into a red as we feel more and more connected to our body with every step, until we slowly step off the staircase. Go ahead and wiggle your toes and remind yourself that you're here and now. Go ahead and wiggle your fingers. Go ahead and roll out your shoulders. We're going to take 3 big clearing breaths as we just reintegrate to the here and now. Big deep breath in. Exhale, release, becoming aware of your body in the present moment. Another big deep breath in, filling yourself with white light. Exhale, release. Integrating that experience you just had in the here and now. One more time, big deep breath in. Exhale. We'll give thanks for this opportunity to connect. Give thanks for this opportunity to be alive and breathing. And whenever you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. All right. So you can go ahead and take a moment to integrate that experience if you'd like. I'd be curious if anybody would like to share. Would love to hear if anybody had any particular experiences. Go ahead and type it up in the comments, let me know. feeling quite refreshed myself after that little journey. So much so that I lost time, to be honest with you. Usually I'm pretty good about keeping time with this meditation, but wow, I was kind of slipped away with it as well. Pooja, Oksana, wow, very cool. Anybody have any particular experiences? I'd be really curious if you'd be willing to share. Sean had flashes of colors and was in the clouds. Lovely. I love that. That's a good thing. Very nice. Let me know if there's anybody, anything else that happened. Have any experiences? I will tell you, I was introduced to a version of this meditation, except it was an elevator and not a staircase the first time I had done it. And a meditation like this was, was what got me into all of this work, to be honest with you. This is how I met my animal guide the first time. This is how I met my first spirit guide. And that began my journey. So I'm really curious if anybody had any interesting experiences. Oh, cool. Tanya says, I quite unexpectedly met St. Francis. Yeah, that's interesting. Very cool. This experience can definitely open up things like that, and one of the things that I love about these meditations, when we really tap in and we open up to something special, I especially felt this in the shamanic journey experience I had a few years ago that really opened me up to doing this work in the way that I'm doing it now. There can be very unexpected meetings, arisings. When I facilitate these for people one-on-one or in small groups in live, sometimes people meet with family members, like sometimes family members who have crossed over meet them. They meet with guides. There are animal guides that meet with them. St. Francis, Krishna, Buddha, religious figures, Jesus, there's so many different expressions that can kind of come up, but it is a very interesting experience. So I'm really, oh man, there's a lot of comments coming in. Let me see. Lorraine says, I jumped on too late, but I will say I felt everyone's healing magnetic energy and it was exactly what I needed. Oh, that's lovely. Cool. I'm glad you got that experience, Lorraine. Pooja says it was like being in a movie. Yeah, it can be. You slipped into the right state. Oksana says, I met my warrior self I keep seeing in my meditation. Very cool. Rebecca, my spiral staircase was a DNA helix, which to me represents the three-dimensional infinity symbol. I was met by an angel with beautiful gold wings. I was then shown a beautiful indigo light in my third eye. It came with the knowing that it is now safe to remove the block that I placed on my third eye. Wow, that's awesome. I love that. That's really cool that you had that experience. So for those folks who maybe are unaware, the third eye, our third eye chakra, this is the kind of like our psychic center. It is most connected to our intuitive and psychic senses, clairvoyance most specifically, so like our inner vision or our psychic vision, our ability to visualize. It's also a creative center too. So that's why people who are in the visual arts are very often clairvoyant, or they see, right? It's really cool to hear that Rebecca had a block removed on this that she had placed on her third eye. Sometimes when stuff like this happens in these meditations, it does become a safe way to open up, and that's one of the reasons why I do the grounding meditation at the top. Is why we encircle ourselves with both the orange light and with the gold and white light. Those are basically energetic protections before we embark on these little journeys and these missions, and they're just for energetic integrity, to make sure that we are energetically protected and that we're connecting with energy that is serving our highest good. And that's a really important intention and a space to create for ourselves. So that's why I always do those meditations. I know for some people maybe you're like, oh my gosh, this is so like cumbersome to do the same thing over and over, but there's an intention behind it, and the purpose is to ensure that we are creating a space that remains safe and sacred for us in our prayer and our meditation, so that when we have experiences, we're bringing in guidance and healing from highest source. And that's a really important intention to hold, so that stuff like what happened with Rebecca, where someone, where you get a safe space is created to remove that block in the third eye. Now, I would be curious if Rebecca, if there will be an increase in sort of your intuitive sensitivity, your psychic sensitivity, your dream life might even activate a little more. It's very common after a third eye is kind of like reopened up. We'll be very curious to see how that develops for you, Rebecca. Thank you for sharing. Oksana says, she told me her name and took me over the river to the tribe of my people. Cool. Or to my tribe of people. Awesome. I love that. It's funny. Sometimes people forget to ask names. We have an experience with a spirit maybe that we don't know from real life. And a lot of times people forget to just ask the simple question of, hey, what's your name? What do you like to be called? What are you doing here? So this might be a good moment to kind of briefly discuss like spirit guides and healing spirits, master guides. Basically, we all have teams of spiritual guidance with us, and sometimes these spirits are with us for different times in our life. So some are with us for our entire life, for the entire incarnation, and some are with us only in moments and periods to help guide us and shepherd us through things that we need to learn and learn how to, and things that we need to learn and things that we're really growing or sort of reinforcing and forging in our character. So guides do kind of come and go, but we all have a team of spirit guidance, and it is a mix of helping healing spirits. It can be ancestors, is also very common, and a lot of it it gets intricate. I would suggest doing some reading on it. I'm not going to cover it in a brief discussion after this, but we do have guidance with us. And a lot of it's connected to our ancestry. A lot of it is connected to our faith. And it's not just here in this lifetime, but past lifetimes as well. Seems to be a theme, depending on what you're working on and where you're going. But I would imagine we got a lot of old souls in this group. So there's a lot of rich spiritual history to dive into if you're into it and would be interested in looking at that. Pooja says, I was a young child playing with a friend in a rolling creek, and in the same spot his friend and I grew up. I felt like it was with my soulmate. Oh wow, that's cool. Oksana, I felt love and safety and peace, and we sat in a circle around the fire. That's lovely. We're across the river now. I did, and it was amazing. We held hands in a circle. Oh, cool. Nice, Oksana. It looks like you had a really great experience. Kate says, walking into golden gates, the rest is difficult to put into words. Let's say I was shown I am in alignment. More awaits. Wow, cool. Yes, so for those of you who have now had this experience, this is a meditation and a place that you can return to, and return to often. Work with your guides on that. Whatever wisdom you want to seek. But this essentially, what we did tonight was the practice that got me going on this entire journey as a pretty young teenager. And yeah, I had some pretty interesting experiences as a young teen that really opened me up to this. And it was something that I often went to in times of distress, when the curiosity would wear off at times. And over time, as I got older, I realized that going back to this safe and sacred place and hanging out, like quote, hanging out in this space and meditation with this guidance could be really transformative and really, really helpful. And that is how we ended up where we are today. It was a long process. It was a long journey. But I would recommend going to this space often and continuing to build a dialogue and a relationship with, for those of you who did have experiences where information was revealed or like Pooja said, it was like a movie. It would be interesting to see that with more time and more practice and more repetition, as you get more comfortable in that space and you learn more, I would be really curious to see what develops, because if it happens in any kind of the way that it did for me, it's just over time, that persistent effort of going back and being in that space really opens this up to our intuition and to our sensitivity to not only energy, but all of life, And it can be so helpful in navigating difficult situations, essentially this practice is what has become the little practice that I do when I do our readings, right? I just know how to get there a little bit quicker, and I open up, and I've gotten used to asking questions that can help mine some information and guidance for not only myself, but for other people. So last thing I will say, as I think about going back to this space now after this first time, you all kind of had a very loose experience, which please continue to do that. If you do go back and ask questions and you start to build relationships with your guidance, one of the things I want to offer up is just a few like tips about asking questions. And one of the things that I will say is a lot of times people go wanting to know answers about like what's concerning to them or what's on their mind. And I used to do that as well for a long time. And I noticed that my life and my practice shifted when I would go to that space and I would ask, what do you have for me today? What do I most need to know? And I might still ask questions about the things that were on my mind, but I made sure that I always ask, well, what is the most important thing I need to know today? What would be for my highest good to hear today? So there's a really general question and a basic question you could ask is, what do I need to know for my highest good today? And that can be a daily check-in that really transforms the way you navigate your path. It has been for me. So I want to offer that up. Know that when you ask questions, asking stuff like, should I do this? When we ask questions like that, the answer is going to be, it depends on what you want. There are from a kind of a spiritual perspective, there are no, shoulds or should nots necessarily, because it really is about this experience and what your soul has chosen to create and experience here, but also what you're choosing to create and what level of creation you're expressing from right now. So that's where I will ask questions. I will frame them usually in my highest good, and I will frame them as options. So if I took this job, would this serve my highest good? Or how would this serve my evolution if I took this path? And that becomes a whole different dialogue, right? Because then we're now looking at potentiality. And if we get into a bit of, we get into what we know about what's going on in quantum physics, and really when we start to think that we're just living in a world of potential, right? And we start to work with energy and spirit in that same way, then it kind of opens up the dialogue. It's much more expansive than taking direction. It's not about being told what to do with your life, even from your spirit guidance. This is about you entering a process of co-creation and collaboration with your higher self, with spirit, with God. So the questions can be framed a little bit more in that way, like they're options. So if I took this path, what would that look like? I asked that a question a lot with the cards, with the tarot cards, because we can very quickly see the energy, right? How is this relationship serving my growth? Like, that question is different than, is this relationship bad for me, or should I get out of this relationship? Because those are all decisions that we have to make, and only us as the free individual can make those choices, right? But if we're in a dialogue with a higher dimension of consciousness, whatever that may be, however we frame it, we open ourselves up to a different kind of a dialogue if we ask questions like that. And when we ask questions like that, the dialogue becomes more expansive, and we learn stuff. I learned stuff. Because that's when you get these little light bulb moments and these insights that you wouldn't have thought of, So if you ask a question like, how is this relationship serving my growth right now? That could be packed with all kinds of great nuggets. Whether the relationship is for your ultimate highest good or not, it can be you can get some very specific information about where you're at now, right? Oh, you're learning how to draw boundaries, or right now this is a good time to exercise this part of your, for me, drawing boundaries has been a big thing, like my entire life, in relationships, in work life, and everything. Being able to draw boundaries, and hard ones that say, no, this is not okay, gotta stop. Like, that's been a constant practice for me. So that's something that's come up a lot in these inner dialogues that I've had, right? And it's funny because I'm better about drawing the spiritual boundaries, the energetic boundaries to do this work than I am with people. So that's a hard lesson, that I've had to learn and come about along the way. Let's see what everybody's saying. Sorry, I was talking. Oksana, I was about to ask if I could go back to that meditation. Yes, you can, absolutely. And you can go in different ways. Again, there was a sample of my first experience was a meditation very similar to that, but I go back to it in my own way now when I do readings. So you absolutely can. Pooja says, I didn't hear any messages. It was more of an experience. That's really cool. That's still great. And what I experienced was unbridled joy with a supposed friend. That's amazing. And the cool part is you could try to go back to that place and you could have a dialogue or not, but the thing is that when you have an experience like that joy, and when I experienced was unbridled joy with a supposed friend. When you experience that joy, one of the things we have to realize is that experience is with us, right? No matter where it came from. And that's another thing about this process and this practice, is no matter where this arises from, whether it's a complete imaginary fabrication, right, in our mind, or if this is some sort of great expansive dialogue with consciousness that is beyond us, no matter how we want to frame it, that experience that you had tonight, Pooja, is very real, and that has an impact, right, on your vibration, on your lived experience now, because you get to bring that experience with you, and that becomes a part of your experience, just like as you and I just had a fun conversation, or you watched a good movie. It does change the way we think about how we engage in the world, because an inner experience like that can bring so much to our lives. And that's why, for me, this meditation practice and doing this kind of a thing has been so valuable. Again, even if you can't even explain it, or you don't know really where it's all coming from, but if you know that when you do this meditation, you feel peaceful, you feel reassured, you feel unbridled joy. Who doesn't want 15, 20, 30 minutes of unbridled joy in their day? That sounds awesome. So go ahead and keep doing it. Keep going back to the well. It's a good thing, Oksana says, I feel like it's like I've opened the secret door. Yes, you've opened the secret door. Just, and there are things, the thing with closing the door, when we went into the door, we close the door behind us, all that kind of stuff, it is intentional. Tab is saying no boundaries, but I'm going to push back on that, because we do have to draw boundaries, and we do have to draw boundaries. It's reality. I kind of understand what you're going for, I think, Tab, but we all know that there are boundaries that have to be drawn with people and with energy. It's very important, actually, for our energetic integrity to maintain, to not be encroached upon, and to not be oppressed or impressed on in any kind of a way that really disrupts. So it doesn't mean that you're not sensitive or aware of what's going on, but I think we all know that we got to draw boundaries. Otherwise, we would let people physically assault us, verbally, mentally, emotionally. And I think it's safe to say that drawing those safe boundaries are very important for protecting our energy and our energetic integrity. I saw some historical images, kind of weird. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what that was all about. We'll talk later. I can't type this out. Yeah, we can talk about it later. Yeah, I guess you have to draw boundaries. You have to draw boundaries with people sometimes, right? You have to draw boundaries with energy. Because we can let things into that space, that safe and sacred space that we were just working in. If we don't create that safe and sacred space, we can have experiences that are not necessarily for our highest good, and that's not what we're trying to work with in that space, I fortunately have not had too many experiences working in my meditation space. I have done some readings where energy that came in was kind of odd or really dark and really heavy. And what you have to do in that case is excuse it and tell it basically that this energy, this is a safe and sacred space. This is a space that only welcomes light and information for our highest good. And when we get into that space, that's an important thing, you know. And it's not talked about enough, I don't think. And the reality is, I don't understand it completely all the way, what or why. I just know that I do it and that it works. And I'm better about it energetically and working in a meditative space and in that realm than I am with people. So it's been a slow growth of drawing healthy boundaries that are for maintaining our own energetic integrity. So that's my part. Pooja says, I used to be scared of dark energies when doing past life regressions, but a good guide will look out for you. Yeah, and this happens too. You know, people have, when people go, I've never had an ayahuasca experience, but this is part of what a guide or a shamanic practitioner does. And whether it's an aspect of ourself or if it's something external or whatever, there is a spectrum of energy and vibration that is present. And our goal is to understand it, you know, I think, and to be able to transform it and to work with it and to release those things that don't serve us and to release those vibrations that keep us in a mindset or a state of being that we are evolving sort of away from. I don't really know how to describe it, but yeah, it's not as scary when you get working with the realm of energy, and it's something that we definitely learned and worked with in our shamanic journeying practitioner work. And yeah, you basically just say, oh, well, you're not really allowed to hang out here. See you later. Kate says, I live by boundaries with the spiritual and earthbound plane. Couldn't live without them. That's just me. Yeah. Yeah. It would be interesting. Maybe we need to have like a little round table on light and dark energy, because like I said, I was taught so early on working with, especially kind of learning with John Edwards stuff. You know, he's so vigilant about psychic self-defense and energy protection. And because that was introduced so early on to me when I began my meditation practice, that was always a very important intention, was to make sure that I was connecting to higher realms and forms of consciousness, like helping healing spirits and spirit guides and master guides and the vibration of light and love, and not necessarily something more dense or earthbound, you know. Like I said, you know, Kate does some really interesting work, working with a spirit that once was here on Earth and has crossed over. You know, that's not something that I do, so that takes a very special and a very interesting skill set, like what Kate brings to the group and what she does for work. You know, it's even a little bit different than what I'm doing, because what I'm doing is definitely it's just different. I'm not quite a medium, you know. I'm more of intuitive and I don't know. I feel a little bit more. It's like I just work with my guides. That's like my safe space. It's like my soul family. I work with them to bring through information, but I don't venture outside of that. Tanya says ayahuasca was beautiful. I've heard a lot of folks, I know a lot of people who have tried and it's been helpful in ways. I've heard people have really terrifying, scary experiences with it, but I've also heard, you know, there's also a lot to learn from it as well. And that's part of the journey, you know, facing our shadow, facing our darkness, facing the darkness in the world can be a spooky thing, but it's part of what we're here to do. We need to switch to Zoom or some other media that allows us all to speak instead of typing. Yeah. We might need to do some different we can look at some different options or different groups, different types of things for the purpose of creating good boundaries, safe boundaries, creating a safe space. Yeah, I would be interested in that. I would definitely be interested in that. So, all right, folks. Occasionally, though, I'm not going to stop this format, so it will not replace this format. This format is going to be what it is. It's a convenient thing, a way to present the stuff that I've committed to at least doing on a regular basis. So, but we can look at other ways of doing things. Definitely. Kate says safety zone. Yeah. All right, folks. I am going to hop off now. I'm really glad that many of you had such interesting experiences. This is really cool. I'm really glad that some of you had some of you got messages. Some of you had interesting experiences, like movie-like stuff like Pooja had. Rebecca shared a really wonderful experience. So I'm excited to see where this goes. I would love to know if you guys continue to do this on your own and what your experience is or how that evolves for you. That would be really great. So keep me posted. Let me know. Send me messages. Shoot me emails. jeff@thesoulforce.com. Let me know how it's going for you. If there's any kind of breakthroughs or things that evolve for you, I would love to hear about it, because that's what this is all about. It's about opening up to these new dimensions of our own awareness that can help guide us. Without Jeff Bombizzle. That's funny. I've heard all kinds of stuff. Bombeezy, all kinds of stuff. Bombeezy, Bomb Booger as a kid. Bomb Booger was a popular one. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a really great night. Thanks for joining tonight. And we will see you tomorrow for Tarot Tuesday. All right? See you later.